As Brandy mentioned, my name is Stephanie DelPozzo. I'm an associate at NextFed. We are an M&A advisory and strategic growth firm based here in the National Capital Region. My presentation is just a little bit about myself, how I got from policy to mergers and acquisitions, and an intro into a little bit what's happening in the industry right now. Contrary to popular belief, this is not a presentation on lunar investment. I'm not in marketing. I'm not in PR. I'm in M&A, so sorry about the title if that was misleading. So starting off a little bit about myself, I got my degrees in political science and economics from Florida State University. Around the time I was graduating, I was planning on going to law school. I was taking the LSAT at the time. Very unsure what the next step was for me. And in one of my last classes in my last year at Florida State, I was in an econometrics class, and we were doing regression modeling on the O-ring failure on the space shuttle program, and it was kind of the first time I recognized that as someone in policy and in economics and a non-engineer, that I had the ability to make an impact on the space industry. And then asked my professor to connect me with someone who was actually getting their PhD in space economics at the time. And thus my space career was born. I wish, I had a cooler story growing up in Florida in the shadows of Kennedy Space Center that I was inspired, but inspiration can strike at any time. So I think, that's great for me, right? Soon after that, I got an internship and eventually transitioned to full-time at SpaceWorks Enterprises on their commercial team, supporting early stage clients with strategic growth engagements and helping them understand their market. After about 2 years there, I decided it was time to pivot in my career. I really wanted to move to DC. I wanted to work in defense and space. So I decided to enroll at the GW Space Policy Institute and get my master's in science and tech with a concentration on space policy. It is one of the greatest organizations, I think, in DC. It has connected me and led me to success in my career. It's a great network. It's great professors who have worked on many NASA programs and many DoD space programs. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. While I was at GW, I had the opportunity to intern at NASA Ames, NASA Johnson, and In-Q-Tel. I worked in strategic partnerships, tech transfer, as well as technology policy. And I think working at In-Q-Tel at the time that the CHIPS Act was on the bill was a very, very interesting time for me, understanding how to communicate both to the intelligence community and industry what was going to happen with the CHIPS bill and exactly what kind of funding they needed to meet their technology needs to meet national security missions. From there, the founder of In-Q-Tel also founded my company, so it's founded by former senior members of the intelligence community. Like I said, we're an M&A advisory shop. We work in aerospace, defense, and intelligence. I'm an associate there. I work on the space portfolio. Primarily, my job consists of buy-side engagement, so I help space companies or private equity firms acquire or merge other space companies with each other, and then also help larger firms acquire other smaller space firms that they may need to diversify their portfolio. I also do a little bit of sell-side engagement, so a space company may approach me and my team and ask us, how do I go to a bank and ask for money? How do I get acquired by another company? How do I get funding to reach the next step in my company? So we help them understand their market, how they play in their market, and give them a little bit of marketing material to go out to banks. I've also had the opportunity at this company to work with a lot of great space companies. I've been able to go to some launches, see a lot of great space tech, and meet a lot of senior members of the DoD community within this role, and it's just amazing. So I'm going to get into my talk today, a little bit of intro into the different types of investment. There are many across the board, right? I'm going to skip the VC side of things. We only have 10 minutes here. I think VC would take days to actually digest. So I'm going to talk about strategic investment. I'm going to talk about private equity investment and the ever so coveted SPAC mergers. I work in all three of these areas. So NextFed typically works with later stage companies that are in about Series C and then have about up to $1 billion in evaluation. So we're primarily middle market, right? And many of the logos you see on these screens, our company has had the privilege of working with or acquiring or helping get funding. So it's very full circle for me. So strategic investment, what is strategic investment, right? It is when a larger firm can acquire smaller firms or set up their portfolio to either vertically or horizontally integrate their capabilities. Some of the big ones we see, Northrop Grumman Orbital ATK, which eventually became NGIS. SpaceX acquired Swarm to increase their capabilities on their satellites. Raytheon with Blue Canyon Technologies, now they're on the NDSA space architecture program out of the SDA. I think what's interesting about these companies is that it's all private funding, right? So these are in-house players trying to expand their portfolio. PE investment. I work a lot with PE investment. Again, it's primarily my job at NextFed. You may have heard of AE Industrial, one of my favorite clients. We've helped them acquire Firefly, York Systems. I actually started the Redwire portfolio back in 2019 at a different firm and have been helping them acquire different companies under their now public SPAC today. But it's really important because I think all of us work in a company that has at one point gone out to market to seek funding. It has either been acquired by a larger company or is looking to acquire someone to expand their capabilities. The last one is SPAC mergers that I'll go over. Again, it's impossible to go over the entire financial landscape in 10 minutes, so if you have any questions, I'd love to talk to you after. A SPAC merger is when a company is acquired or merges with another public company. So SPACs are usually described as a blank check company. They actually don't have an operating arm, but they acquire other companies to circumvent the typically lengthy IPO process. And space companies who are typically early stage are able to get advice from holding companies and how to grow their revenue, how to reach positive EBITDA, how to go out to market. So what does this mean for us? Why do we care, right? So looking forward, we all know we're in quite an economic downturn. Interest rates are high. In the light of the SVB bank failure, what's going to happen with our industry, right? So as interest rates rise, we're going to see a lot less PE investment as well as VC investment, just because it gets more expensive to borrow capital. So what does that mean? Where's the industry going to go? We're going to see a lot more from the strategic investment side, just because private companies don't typically have to go out to market and buy debt or capital at a really high expense. So we're going to see a lot of consolidation in the industry, which we've seen in the past, right? A lot of people are going to continue to horizontally and vertically integrate their companies. And I think, consolidation is going to be really interesting. So I wanted to thank everyone for having me here today. I know that was short and sweet. We have a lot of amazing speakers, so I wanted to give them time to present on their presentations. So if you have any questions, let me know. But thank you.